Hello everyone. Welcome to another lecture of the course Digital Signal Processing. In the previous lecture, we have seen the proofs of various properties of discrete Fourier transform. So now in this lecture, let us revise the properties in short, and we had considered for the property proofs these three things, these three signals, that is x1 of n with its endpoint DFT as x1 of k, x2 of n with endpoint DFT as x2 of k, and x of n as endpoint DFT or as x of k. So we have the time domain representation and endpoint DFTs of the signals, and we have seen various properties for the endpoint DFTs. So let us revisit them. So the first property which we had seen already was the periodicity of x of n and x of k, and we had seen that this x of n plus capital N is equal to x of n and x of k plus capital N is x of k. So we had seen that both x of n and x of k, so we had seen that x of n and x of k are periodic with period n. The next property was linearity property, and in that we had considered the linear combination in time domain. So we have a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n, and its corresponding DFT is obtained as again a linear combination with same constants. So we have a into x1 of k plus b into x2 of k, and this is the linearity property. The third property which we had seen was time reversal. That is, if we circularly flip in time domain, which can also be written as x of n minus n, then we are again going to get a circular flip in the frequency domain, that is x of minus k mod n, which can be written as x of n minus k. The next property which we saw was the circular time shift. That is, if we circularly shift x of n by a factor of L, that is, if we have x of n minus L mod n, then in the frequency domain the DFT of x of n, that is x of k, is scaled by a complex exponential given as e to the power minus j 2 pi k L by n, and this L is the circular shift factor. Then we had seen the circular frequency shift. That is, if we have a circular shift in the frequency domain, then we are again going to get a complex exponential similar to the time domain shift, but with a positive sign. The next property which we had seen was complex conjugate property, and we have considered the complex conjugate in the time domain. So if we have x conjugate of n, then at that time we are again going to get a complex conjugate in the frequency domain, but now we are going to have a circular flip also. So this complex conjugate in time domain results into circular flipping, as well as we are going to have complex conjugate. Similarly, if we have complex conjugate in the frequency domain, then we are going to get complex conjugate in the time domain, but the signal would be circularly flipped. Then we had seen the circular convolution property. That is, if we have convolution of two signals in the time domain, or to be precise, if we have circular convolution of two signals in the time domain, then we are going to get multiplication of their corresponding DFTs in the frequency domain. Similarly, we had seen the circular correlation property. So if we have correlation, circular correlation in time domain, then its frequency domain representation is given as x1 of k into x2 conjugate of k. Then we had seen the time multiplication property. That is, if we have multiplication in time domain, then we are going to get circular convolution in the frequency domain, but now we are going to get a factor of 1 by n. And the last thing that we had seen was this Parseval's theorem, which stated that if we have summation n running from 0 to n minus 1, then we are going to get summation n running from 0 to n minus 1 x1 of n into x2 conjugate of n, then we are going to get it as equal to 1 by n summation k running from 0 to n minus 1 x1 of k into x2 conjugate of k. And we had seen that if we have this x2 of n equal to x1 of n, then at that time what we get is n running from 0 2n minus 1 mod of x1 of n square is equal to 1 by n summation k running from 0 to n minus 1 mod of x1 of k whole square. So this is energy in this period, that is summation n running from 0 to n minus 1. So in this range, this is the energy of the signal, and similarly this is energy, so this is average energy in the frequency domain. So we can say that there is no change in the energy factor in if we have some kind of transformation from one domain to other domain. So this is Parseval's theorem. So these are the properties which we had seen in this lecture, and we have proved these properties in the previous lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to consider the properties of DFT specific to the real signals. So let's stop here. Thank you.